California MBA DE&I podcast. I'm Dr. Stacy Wayman, Manager of Client Digital Experience at National Mortgage Insurance, and also your podcast host. Thank you for joining us today. At National MI, we're dedicated to making a positive impact in the communities that we serve, where we live and work. We bring innovative mortgage insurance solutions to the market, helping more people to have access to sustainable home ownership and preserve their American dream. A big thank you and shout out to our sponsor, PCV Mercor, one of the nation's leading valuation management companies for residential and commercial valuations. We appreciate your continued support and sponsorship. With me today is Kevin Peranio, and I am so excited to have you here today and to hear from you. We've had such great conversation before today, and we just have to record it. We just have to record it. We have to get it out to everybody. So Kevin, why don't you tell the audience a bit about yourself and the work that you do and the work that your company does, and we'll take it away.
Sure. Native Texan from Dallas, Texas Longhorn. You can see my little horns back there. Living in California the last 8 years. I'm here in Southern California, Newport Beach, 4 kids, married, 12 plus years. So been in the business since '01. I started at First Magnus in 2001 as a wholesale account executive. We've got a great team of about 1,500 employees here at Paramount Residential Mortgage Group. I'm one of the partners. There's 2 founders, Paul and Robert, and Paul Rosa, Robert Holiday, and then myself. Been at the company almost 14 years as a partner over 8. And we also have Gary Malice as one of our partners who runs cap markets and strategy. So 3-channel lender, wholesale, correspondent, retail. We're just grinding like everybody else, trying to serve families, put them in homes, and foster the American dream.
You're doing it all.
Trying.
Well, I know you are very active in DE&I, not just within PRMG, but throughout the industry. So I'd love for you to share a bit about the work that you do and maybe why you do it. What motivates you to support these types of initiatives?
Yeah, I got to give my parents credit. They're married 58 years. My dad passed about 3.5 years ago, and they're raised in a small country town outside of Baton Rouge, really small. Literally, my mom's high school graduating class had 7 people, and I know, right? And you just learn to get along with everybody. It's just how it is in the country. And raised Catholic, and I'm born and raised in Dallas. My parents stayed together and helped me, just instill values in me, just to help other people. And so, one of my favorite phrases out there that I still try and aspire to be is when you hear someone called a humble servant leader. So I think I got the servant leader part down, and I'm mostly humble, and I'm working on it in my ripe old age of 47, almost 48. So it's not my fault I was born a Leo in August, but humility. I've been humbled. I'm trying to be humble. I'm trying to serve others, and I just love helping people. And when you hear about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and you hear about it kind of puts a name and a wrapper on something. But at the end of the day, you're just helping other people. You're helping people. Whether it's get a job or get a leg up in life or get them in a house. And so I think it's a great approach. It helps put a tactical approach towards helping others. If it's just I help other people, I love helping. It's like, well, what do? You just every person asks for your help and puts a hand out, you help. Well, there's that too. Yeah. But it's nice to have like a strength in numbers approach. Let's all get around a movement and let's make a concerted effort. And so I like that. I'm not the most organized admin type. I'm more of tip of the spear. I'll lead the charge and get out there. Right. And so it's nice to have someone say, hey, here's what we're going to battle against right now. We're going to work on this, and we're going to tackle this issue, and we're going to make these people successful. They need our help, whoever it is. And so, this is one of many battles that I fight in serving others. And that's my motivation. That's where I'm from. And, there's a ton of ways we do it within our industry too.
Mm-hmm. And I understand you guys have you've been really intentional about creating a product set that supports access. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, 100%. I love what you said, access, because a lot of it is just, being intentional about saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to help the first time home buyer. I'm going to help people that have an individual tax ID number, ITIN, the I-10 program. We're going to be intentional about doing loans for people with rougher credit,
Mhm.
knowing that that will cost us money. We will lose money on loans that do not perform by doing manual government underwrites. We are going to do loans that don't pay us as much for our resources, time, which is the most valuable thing, and effort for down payment assistance programs. Those are things that come with risk,
Mhm.
but that's okay. I mean, again, when the call of duty is to help and serve, those product mixes are table stakes in our opinion. And one cool thing about our company, and our founder and CEO would probably, roll his eyes if I'm saying this, because he's not the kind to pander or talk about himself, but he's Colombian. He's of Colombian descent, Paul Rosso. And so fluent in Spanish. It's never really, he's never said, because I'm Colombian, I'm going to go, lend to Latinos. But having said that, when we're hiring and when we're recruiting, the Latino community really resonates with him and the way he operates, and whether they openly say that or not. So our when you hire managers, of color,
Mhm.
they recruit teammates, that uh, look, act, and talk and feel like they do. And so we have over 50% non-white employees. I think we're at 58% last time I checked at PRMG. We do a ton of lending in multiple communities, not just Latino. I'm just giving him credit, but because we're not homogenous here, and the mission to help is not a homogenous mission. We go out and we hire anyone and everyone that just fits with us, regardless of their background and ethnicity, or gender. And so our senior management board is stacked with women, and that's a great thing to have. I mean, I serve on the California Mortgage Banker Association, which Susan Milazzo is the CEO, and it's a really well run board. Our common thread here for this podcast. And so there's a lot of initiatives that we have, at this company, and we don't. It's hard to like talk like when you're a servant and you just do it because it makes sense, and there's part of us where it's like when you talk about that you do it, there's part of you like, I don't want to come across like we're doing it to check a box. This is who we are,
Mhm.
and I think that's important to make that distinction when we talk about the efforts that we make at PRNG and of course myself personally.
Yeah. It's a beautiful example of diversity and inclusion at work, literally at work, with what you all are doing. But to your point, when you have leaders and managers that resemble the communities that you're trying to serve, it's going to be that much easier to attract talent to your team. But it also automatically instills a level of trust that many of us in the industry have been struggling to get back since all the happenings of 2008.
Hmm.
So that intentional focus that you all have had really is making a difference to create opportunity for PRMG certainly, but in the communities where you serve.
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, the rise of the independent mortgage banker has been a real tailwind for DE&I initiatives. This isn't a knock on fiduciaries and banks and depositories and credit unions. I mean, they do a great job, but I mean, we had a credit crisis, and pretty much everyone got wiped out, in '08. And so, banks were literally fighting for survival, taking money from the government just to stay afloat on their balance sheet. And so a lot of independent mortgage bankers started rising from, those ashes. And, there's a different set of rules for independent mortgage bankers, and which, I think favors serving underserved communities. And so,
Mhm.
you know, for IMBs, independent mortgage bankers like us, to take risk in communities that are underserved, it's a different way that we use leverage to be able to do that, to access liquidity, to access funds, and then deciding to take that risk and risk those funds and access. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, so when we get access to a warehouse line, if we have too many bad loans, we risk that access of liquidity, which hurts the communities that we serve.
Right.
And so there's real risk, regardless of color, but when you come down on the credit scale, right?
Mhm.
So it's something that takes time to build up, your treasure chest and your savings and your reserves. So then, okay, now I'm going to be able, as a lender, to take some more risk in some areas where, if I was new and it was '08, I might otherwise not take that risk. And
Mhm.
um, and that's the boring side of mortgage banking. But at the end of the day, we're still finding ways to help people get a roof over their head, and that's the part that really feels good.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're a difference maker every day, and a difference maker for thousands of people every day because you're helping them achieve that goal. And certainly, you think about the challenges that occurred because of the different traditional philosophies, if you will, between fiduciary institutions and then independent mortgage bankers, and the way that you go after business and market business, and who you look at, and how you attract it. Independent mortgage makers, it's just competition, competition, competition. We want all the business we can get. Everybody, if we can find a program that fits for them, we want to be a problem solver. So it's a little different philosophy than traditional. I grew up in a small town too. And I'm sure that you probably heard this often growing up in a small town, because everybody knows everybody and everybody's connected in some way. It's always do the right thing. You do the right thing. You do the right thing when it's a choice that's going to affect you. You do the right thing when it's a choice that could affect other people. And this feels a lot like the work that you are doing, and the work that PRMG does with the product set and the philosophy around your internal running of the company, feels a whole lot like you guys live by do the right thing.
Yeah, it's not just a great Spike Lee movie, Do the Right
Right.
Thing. It's a mantra.
Oh,
Um,
you're throwing it way back, my friend.
I was just wondering if I should even throw it out there. How many of our viewers don't even know what I'm talking about? But they'll go look it up now, so they can
Right.
Google it in two
They're
seconds.
like, Spike, what?
Yeah, put him that put Mars Blackman on the map. That was his big film.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and
Yeah, that
also
was the
in the
start of something fantastic for him.
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
plus the Jordan
Absolutely.
commercial, the Nike commercials. Anyway, yeah, it is about right and wrong and doing the right thing. And I think what doesn't get maybe as much notoriety in our business. I mean, we have 1,500 employees here. We have to stay profitable and keep them employed.
Mhm.
And so that is the burden that we don't take lightly. So I actually say that every second Tuesday of the month. I just did it 2 days ago. We have our new hire orientation. We had 27 new hires in this monthly class, and I do the closing comments personally on behalf of ownership and senior management. And it's a big deal, to put bread on the table for them so they can support their family. So then our, PRMG family can then serve other families, 2,000 or more families, closed, funded, and served every month. It's not as much as our peak, back in 2021, and serving 5 to 6,000 families a month and having almost 3,000 PRMG family members. I mean, we've gone through a little shakeup here in the industry, but as of this taping and this morning, we're just one report closer to even lower rates. And this morning we had a deflationary CPI report, and that's good for Fed rate cutting and interest
Mhm.
rates to come down. And home affordability increases big time when interest rates come down. And it's a
Yeah.
macro factor that we don't control, but it looks like we're just about on start the other side of it, which is great. Just to throw out a little stat here, when interest rates went from 7 to 8% last year, they peaked at 8% in October of 23.
Mhm.
Um, 5 million borrowers were priced out of the market. And so when rates have come back down to 7%, where they are now, just the average rate, that's 5 million more borrowers back in the affordability zone. Now, of course, we've got other problems, right? We've got real estate taxes going up.
Sure.
There's a home insurance crisis here in the state of California. The
Yes.
California MBA board, we're doing everything we can to lobby in Sacramento and really, get that out there. And I just read this morning that Hurricane Beryl cost 1.2 billion or no, $1.5 billion in property damage. I mean,
Mhm.
one little storm overnight, boom, hits
Yes.
landfall, and there's 1.5 billion that someone's got to pick up those pieces. And so it's, we wonder why insurance goes up and why certain, areas become less affordable. So, I'm so fearful of us becoming like Europe, where there's just no middle class. There's haves and have-nots. It's not easy to get into a house in Europe. It's still generally pretty easy. You may have to move outside of town and get that starter home, but you got to get in the game. And so, there are forces and headwinds all the time that make it hard to serve the underserved in home ownership. But damn it, we're doing our part.
Mhm. I love it. I love it. So if you had to leave one piece of advice as a co-founder, senior executive in your organization, what would you recommend that member organizations do? What's one thing that they could do?
Well, I think what's been really great lately is there are a lot of first-time home buyer programs that are coming out. So embracing those. I mean, your company does a great job of insuring those. So there are some programs that have less money down required. The down payment's still the largest hurdle to home ownership. So
Right.
you got higher rates, last couple of years, although they are trending down, thankfully. You have rising insurance costs and taxes. But the down payment's the hardest part. You don't need 20%. There are programs out there that offer 3% down or gifted funds, or 3.5%, 5%, whatever the case may be. You can open the door
Mhm.
with less down than you think, but it's so hard to save, especially the last few years. We've had such inflation out there, rising prices of everything, cars and gas and food and energy and
Right.
everything, rent. And so, but those prices are leveling off. And for those that are able to save and able to get that down payment, there are some great programs out there. So I would tell my peers, and I would tell other lenders to try and embrace a lot of the home affordable products that are out there,
Mhm.
uh, especially as it relates not just to credit worthiness and low credit scores, but also down payment assistance and down payment light requirements to help people get that first roof over their head.
I love it. I think that's great sound advice. And it's definitely a step forward versus waiting to see what's going to happen. But really embracing those opportunities and those programs and resources that are out there. Consumers, even the best ones that do a lot of research, and as a former loan officer, I talked to a lot of people who came in, started out with, I've done my research, Stacy. And so that the things that they don't know about are really some of the things that are the difference makers in the type of home they can buy, how much home they can buy, the program they're going to qualify for. So it's just important that we as loan officers or lenders as whole are educators as well. But we've got to grab onto those products and programs, like you said, and know them ourselves in order to educate the masses.
Yeah.
So,
Education is so critical. Sales is really just about communication, right?
oh yeah,
Sales gets this bad rap, like everyone's trying to like shake your hand and roll you over and make you
yeah.
buy something you don't want. There's just way too many guardrails around the home process to do that. So it's about education, it's about communication. And I love that you and your team, which we do business with, love NMI. We love that, that everyone's trying to push and be vocal about educating consumers. But again, like you said, I mean, you've originated loans, and you get a first time home buyer, they still have so many questions and they don't know what they don't know. And it's a long process to buy the biggest thing they're ever going to buy in their life.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and sometimes you have to help them realign their goals and start with that starter home or townhouse or condo, and then move up
Yep.
in five years or so. So, yeah, there's a lot that it entails, and certainly it's work that all of us can do. But when, as you said, sometimes folks think negatively about sales, but that brings it all the way back around to what you said in the beginning, and that you grew up in a small town, and the reason that you're so dedicated and have such motivation, inspiration to do the work that you do is because you've come from that environment of do the right thing and do right by people and help one another, be that servant. And whether you're a servant leader or just a servant in your community, you make a difference.
Yeah, well said.
Well, we appreciate you being here with us today, Kevin, and sharing from your heart, sharing from your vast expertise. We look forward to seeing you at some new and additional ways. Thank you for serving on the board for our MBA and being a part of trying to make a difference here in the state of California. It makes all the difference to the rest of us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on here, and happy to help communicate, all these great things we're working on together. It takes a village, and,
Yes.
but keep an eye out. Rates are coming down. Business is about to pick up. So let's go.
All right. Y'all heard it from the expert. Get ready. And just a final big thank you and shout out to our sponsor, PCV Mercor. Without you, we could not make this happen. So thank you very much for your continued support and sponsorship. All right, everyone, we will see you at a future podcast very soon. Stay tuned.
Thank you.